Head coach Dusty May. Coach, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we will open it up to questions. Once again, we do have microphone holders. Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you if you can do name and affiliation before asking your question. But we'll start with Coach May with an opening statement. Thanks.
Extremely excited to be playing in the Garden in the Sweet 16. What a moment for our guys, and we're here to compete.
All right, we'll start over here on the end on this side.
Hey, Coach. John Evanson, CBS 12 News. You mentioned this in your post-game press conference last time, I think a few other times. I keep hearing that word Cinderella come up when people are talking about FAU. I know you guys don't consider yourself a Cinderella team, but is this something you take offense to, or is it just sort of an eye roller?
Neither. We'll embrace it, whatever they want to call us, but we're very, very confident in our abilities and those guys in the locker room. So we've never thought of ourselves in that regard just because of the success of our league and our guys being able to do what they did over a 20-game schedule. So, but we'll take it. Whatever gets the people cheering for us, we're open.
We'll stay at the end on the front row here, Adam.
Hey, Dusty. Adam Zagoria, New York Times. Good to see you. Just playing at the Garden, any cool stories or anecdotes from your players? How many of them have never played here before? How many have played here? And anything they've said so far, just kind of wide-eyed and amazed at being here?
Very few have played here. Nick Boyd on our team, his uncle is Freddie Hill, so he came here every year for the Big East tournament. So he's told our guys about it, but obviously it's mostly television, the hype surrounding the Garden and the Mecca and all those things. So they're excited to be here, but our guys have proven all year that the stage isn't too big and the lights aren't too bright. If we lose to Tennessee, it's because they beat us.
We'll stay on that side in the back there on the end. Just raise your hand so we can see you. Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. John Burton from News Channel 5 and WNSR Radio in Nashville. Just curious, when you see Tennessee on film and their ability to defend, especially ball screens and the way they can use their physicality, what stands out the most when you break them down?
How well they keep the ball out of the paint and then close to shooters with their size, length, but most importantly, it's their intensity and their physicality. They play every single possession like it's their last.
And we'll go one row behind him.
Hey, Dusty, Paul Meyerberg with USA Today. I know you have a slightly different background than many of your coaching peers. I'm curious if you could please tell me how your experience at IU informed your coaching career, and if there are still things that you learned as a 18 to 22-year-old that you find useful today.
100%. I played Division II 1 year and ran cross country and transferred. So I came as a freshman manager as a sophomore in college. So I had a little bit of a gap year. But the entire journey has hopefully prepared me to be in the position I'm in. But I learned so much. You volunteer 40 to 80 hours a week just to learn from a legend, an expert coach, expert teacher. So, I take a lot. I take something daily from what I learned from that experience.
We're going to come over to the other side here about midway through. Yep, go ahead.
Hi, Amanda Kristovich from Front Office Sports. Kind of building off of the Cinderella question, you could argue that your program maybe has fewer financial resources than some of the other schools, let's put it that way. Could you speak to how, your program has gotten to this point despite, not having maybe the same budgets as the...
Well, I think a lot of our guys in today's climate, a lot of places are getting more of a finished product, where a lot of our guys came in with a chip on their shoulder. They had the talent, but what separated them is their work ethic and their drive to be successful, and probably being a little bit under-recruited. It contributes to that, but it's just a really special group where they like each other, they compete against each other like it's life and death, and then they're in the locker room hanging out for several hours. So it's a really unique blend of personalities and characters, but the one commonality is they're a very competitive and hardworking group. I guess that's two commonalities.
We'll go right here in the front, I think on each side of the aisle. We'll start on the left side.
Ralph Russo with the Associated Press. Coach, your team is shooting about 29% from three in the two games, but it's about right for the rest of the tournament. I think 31% overall. Is there any reason why the shooting has been so bad in this tournament?
That's a great question for this tournament. We haven't shot the ball well in 7 or 8 games, and that's typically what we've hung our hat on. But because we've been able to make a leap in defensively and rebounding, and we don't turn the ball over like we have in years in the past, we've actually, the last few years, we've been a good offensive team, except we've turned the ball over, which has negated our three-point shooting ability and our offensive rebounding ability. So we haven't shot well in a while. Fortunately, our guys do believe that we can find a way to win because we are scrappy, gritty, and we rebound the ball, and our defense has come a long way, especially over the last month of the season.
We'll stay in the front on the other side of the aisle.
Chris Eisman, Bergen Record. When you were recruiting Nick Boyd when he was at the Bosco Institute, what stood out to you about him?
I went to see John L. Davis in Gary, Indiana, to play a game after he was either committed or signed, and I know Dave Maravella, who runs Bosco, and they had practice that day. So usually when you go watch a game, you try to stop in and kill two birds with one stone. I stopped in and watched a practice, and Gonzaga was actually there watching him that day, and an assistant from Gonzaga, and it was more his leadership, his personality, and then for whatever reason, I've always had an affection for lefties, so he could pass the ball, he could shoot it. He didn't look like the guards in our league because he wasn't as physically developed. But as we got to know Nick, we I guess realized how driven he was and how special of a person he is, and that's contributed to his success because he grew late, and he's an incredibly hard worker. I've never been around a harder worker than Nick Boyd.
We'll stay on that side of the aisle, but we'll go to the back there. Go ahead.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic. This is a two-parter, Dusty. You guys are 10-1 in games decided by 5 or less points. Just what's made you guys so efficient in those nail-biter games, and how much of that can be coached versus the group kind of figuring some of that out on their own?
I guess I'll be honest. We were 0-8 last year in the same games, we've done a lot of self-evaluation to figure out why. Typically, you miss a free throw, you have a bad break, a 10% three-point shooter throws one in, things like that. It's the randomness of winning and losing, and for some reason, it was never in our favor last year, and it's been in our favor this year. So I wish it was more complex than that. And I do think veteran guards, guys that have been in those positions, you can go practice free throws, but until you felt those moments and that intensity and that pressure, it's hard to do it. And now our guys did it last year. We weren't successful. They put in a lot of work, and now I think just the belief after we got the first couple.
We'll stay on that side in the middle. Yep, one row up.
Grant Ramey with On 3 Sports. Dusty, what is it about this Tennessee team that compares them to Australian rugby rules?
Well, I feel bad because I combine two sports. There's Australian rules football, and then there's rugby, and I should have known that, but it was the first thing that came into my mind. It's the most physical sport without pads that I've ever watched or have ever seen, and I know that was taken, I guess, in different ways. If you said that our team's extremely physical, extremely aggressive, extremely intense, I'd tell the staff and the players, you guys are doing a great job, because that's what I want them to say about us defensively. So I didn't see the Duke game, have no idea. I had just heard there were, through Twitter, there were some comments made, but I say that in the most complimentary way possible. Coach Barnes is a legend. It hasn't changed. When I was at Florida, they were the same way, and it was hard to make a pass, let alone score a basket against them. So
we'll stay in that row. We're going to go across the aisle, though. Yep.
Dusty, Tom Canavan with the Associated Press. When you talk about Boca, you talk about sand and beaches and hot weather, and to be perfectly honest, when you got in the tournament, I had to figure out where Boca was. So I'm just wondering, when you took over, I mean, I heard that you could have, if you went to a game, you could have a whole section to yourself as far as a fan. What has changed?
Great question. Well, number one, in South Florida, there are a lot of people from the East Coast that like basketball. So we talked about building the fan base one fan at a time. But when we started winning, and we won in spurts the last couple of years, we weren't able to sustain it like we did this year. People started coming, and our crowd started growing incrementally. Well, this year, our guys, they share the ball, they pass it, they play incredibly hard, they play with intensity, and they're likable during the game, after the game, at halftime, on campus. So I think all those things rolled into one, allowed us to sell out, I think, our last 7 games in an area where it's hard to get people into the gymnasium, especially this time of year with the snowbirds and whatnot. So I think a lot of things go into it, but our guys have captivated an area and a university.
We'll stay on this side. Yep.
Yeah, Coach Gentry Estes, Tennessee, and knowing Mike White, Brian, how well do you know Danny, and how special do you think it's going to be for Brian to go against his brother in this game?
I know Danny well, and I think it'll be gut-wrenching for both of them to compete against their brothers.
We'll come up here on the aisle. We'll go each side of the aisle here.
Hi, that's the Zach Weinberger, Palm Beach Post. Can you just kind of talk about a little bit of how you had that 8 to 9 man rotation like you've been doing the whole season? Can you talk about how important Vladislav Gold is going to be in this next game, especially when Tennessee has a 7-foot center of their own?
Well, Vlad's extremely important in almost every game, and when he's been not been in foul trouble, we've played well for most of the season. Vlad hasn't played his best the last couple games. Fortunately, Rosado's came in and really held down the fort and caused a matchup problem in our first 2 rounds. So that's the beauty of our team. Every player has an off night. Every player has a bad game or two. And I think it alleviates some pressure and stress when you know this guy that's going in for me is got it today, and you're probably going to have it tomorrow. And if not, then he's going to have it again tomorrow. So I do think that's alleviated a lot of stress this year, knowing that we are too deep at almost every position.
And we'll go on the other side of the aisle there.
Hey, Russ Steinberg from Boardroom. It's been a couple of days since your second round win. Just wondering if you could kind of take us through the last few days, what it's been like, getting back to campus, what the buzz has been like around the program the last few days.
We've only seen campus through social media and videos online. We decided after the game, we finished late, I guess it was Saturday night, we decided that the families, administration, band, cheerleaders, everyone but our team was going back to Boca for a few days, and we were going to get a commercial flight out of Columbus to New York on Sunday. We got here Sunday late afternoon, gave the guys the day off, gave them basically all afternoon until 10 p.m. to go see the city. Some of them did Broadway shows. Some of them went to Times Square. They did whatever they wanted to do in the city. And then we said on Monday we attacked Tennessee preparation with 100% focus. We would have only been back one day. It would have been tough travel. And our guys, there would have been many distractions if you've been to our campus.
We got 2 more questions. We'll do one in front here, and then we'll go back to the back.
Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports. Dusty, everybody with Tennessee talks about the physicality. Who are maybe the most physical couple teams you can remember your team playing this season? And on top of that, how important is it for y'all to get this pace, this game, to be played the way y'all want it played?
Well, North Texas in our league they're one of the better defensive teams in the country every single year, and they're incredibly physical. They don't have the mass Tennessee has, but they have a similar style where they challenge everything. They put their chest on you. They play in just a rough physical manner, and they've done it, and it's successful. They actually just advanced to the NIT Final Four last night with a win at Oklahoma State. So it's very similar to that, but we need the game to be a little bit more open. We need to find a way to rebound and then attack and transition because we anticipate them sending forward to the offensive glass.
And then we'll go back to the back there on the right side.
Hey, Dusty. What have you guys done as a program to adapt to the transfer portal and roster management, player evaluation and retention? And do you believe that it's made things more difficult for programs such as yours, meeting the portal, compared to how it's impacted Michigan State or Tennessee or Kansas State, for example?
Well, it has impacted those guys as well. I watched the Texas A&M game, and their starting center, I guess, played at Michigan State at one point. So it's impacted everyone. Fortunately for us, 8 of our top 9 guys were back from last year, and then we had Nick Boyd sitting out. So essentially we had 9 of our top 10 back, and going forward we have 12 of our 13 back next year. Hopefully I'm not sitting here or sitting somewhere with a new roster. It's the climate. Every time we have lost a player in the portal, we feel like we've had an upgrade. And now with the exposure of our program, but we like our guys. We like our team. They have a chip on their shoulder. But without a doubt, it's going to be fluid every single day. And until the ball's tipped up next season, you may not know truly who your roster is going to be, and it's part of it. Luckily, I'm still relatively young and have a lot of energy because I don't think there's going to be a day where you can just relax and not fear of your phone buzzing.
Okay, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have FAU players here in just a few minutes, maybe even just 1 minute. That's fine. Okay. Welcome, gentlemen. We have redshirt freshman guard Nick Boyd. We have sophomore guard John L. Davis. And we have sophomore guard Giancarlo Rosado. Once again, if you have questions, just raise your hand. We have a couple of microphone holders. We'll get the microphones over to you. Please give your name and affiliation before asking your question. Also, silence your cell phones. Either vibrate or turn them off, and we'll go from there. We'll start here on the aisle, row 3. Go ahead.
This one's for Nick. What's up, Nick?
What's going on? What's going on?
Zach Weinberger, Palm Beach Post. Coach said that, you went from Columbus straight to New York, and you guys kind of had a day off to kind of roam the city and do whatever.
Sir.
Can you just kind of go through that day and how was it kind of exploring the city?
It was fun. It was a time for us just to wind down, get away from basketball a little bit. I mean, we've been on the road consecutively from the conference tournament to now. We took a couple days to see the selection and stuff like that, but we really haven't been home. So to be able to just roam around in a new area where people really haven't been to, it was fun. We've seen a lot of different things, a different culture, and I was able to show some of my teammates around, so it was fun.
We'll come up here in the front on the right side. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, guys. Adam Zagoria, New York Times. Just being at the Garden for all of you, have any of you played here before? Is this your first time here? What's kind of the coolest thing about being at the Garden? Has anything, looking at the pictures, walking around the building, has anything really stuck out to you or excited you?
We'll start with Giancarlo, then we'll go John L., then Nick.
It's my first time at the Garden. It's kind of surreal walking in here after years of watching basketball games, and you're finally here. It's actually smaller than I thought. I thought it was going to be bigger than that, but it's nice, though.
It's my first time here. I didn't think how it was gonna be. It was on TV. It just seemed so different. It just seemed bigger. That's what he said.
I've been here multiple times as a spectator though. Watched the Big East tournament. My uncle was coaching in it, so that was fun. So to be able to be on the court now, obviously a different feeling, and I'm ready to embrace it all.
We'll stay on this side. We'll go a few rows back. Go ahead. Just raise your hand so the guys can see you.
Hi, Giancarlo. Tom D'Angelo from the Palm Beach Post. Carlo and Janelle or Nick, this year when you cracked the top 25, what kind of validation did that give you? Did you feel that was a point where all the hard work was now being recognized, and it kind of give you some momentum for the rest of the season?
We'll do the same order: Giancarlo, then Janelle, then Nick.
To be honest, it really just gave the team a different type of confidence, if I'm being honest. Since May, I've been saying this a lot, but since May, June, all 15 guys been putting in a lot of work. So when we seen that number by our name, I think it just gave us more of a reality, like we're legit.
Getting a number by our name, it just felt different. Just everybody recognized what we could do.
Yeah, like you said, it gave us a little validation. I like the number, but I feel like when we don't have the number, we play with a little more chip on our shoulder at first, but we got used to it, and we embraced it. And like you said, it gave us a little bit of confidence, but we just felt like when we had that number, we were really like that.
We're going to stay on this side, front row on the aisle. Go ahead.
Chris Eisman, Bergen Record. Nick, after graduating from St. Mary's and kind of betting on yourself and going out to the Bosco Institute, believing that you were a Division I player, what has it meant to you to be in this experience, to be on this stage? I mean, how crazy has this been?
It's really crazy. I probably never pictured this for myself, to be honest with you, but just working hard, staying with it, never quitting. I can't really put into words what it feels to be able to have my family come and watch me play out here and be in the Sweet 16, not just no regular type event, like the best high-level, most watched basketball event this weekend. So, like you said, it's a blessing, and I got to thank God for it.
We're going to come across this side in front of me on the far side, like row 4. Go ahead.
Nick, this is for you. Christian Arnold, AM New York. You talked about being here as a spectator and for the Big East tournament. In any of those moments that you were here, did you ever envision yourself getting the opportunity to play on this court? And what has this experience been like so far?
To be completely honest, like I said, I really didn't expect myself to be in this situation or opportunity or have this opportunity. I mean, I grew up like watching Seton Hall, like Isaiah Whitehead hit the game winner in the Big East championship. Like I was there for that. Sterling Gibbs hitting the game winner against Villanova back in the day. I was there for that. Just moments like that I never really thought I would be a part of, but to be here with these guys and everything like that, it makes it more special. And I feel like we got something to prove, and I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to go on the aisle here on the left side. Go ahead in the back.
Ben McKee, 24/7 Sports. Nick, just what has stood out to you about Tennessee and this week's preparation, and just how well prepared do you all feel that you can match their physicality?
Yeah, like you said, the physicality stood out to me from the jump. I mean, everybody calls our phones and says, "You sure you're ready for Tennessee? You know they physical, right?" So, I mean, I feel like that's been the trend for us the whole year. We're an undersized group, but we got heart. And, you just got to get yourself mentally prepared and mentally ready to really bang and be physical and try to match that as best as you can and give yourself a chance to go to the Elite Eight.
Stay on the same row on the other side of the aisle.
This is a two-parter for any of you guys. You guys have been really good in close games throughout this season. Just why do you think that's been the case? And Dusty said that wasn't the case last year, so what do you think's changed on that front?
Let's have Giancarlo, and then we'll do Jonell after that for that question.
I feel like it all just reverts back to the work, back to what this team has built, back to all 15 guys buying into the program, and when you practice so hard as we do, and go as hard as we do, when you get in those tight games, we don't get tight. When the game get tight, we get looser and we play more free. So it's like it started there.
And Jonell?
I feel like from day one, everybody just believed in each other from the jump. Then when we got in the close moments, everybody was close.
Okay, over on the far right side, I think toward the back, in the very back row. Go ahead.
Nick or Jonell, Tyler Mansfield, Rivals.com. It seems like your guard play this year has been so good, whether it's you two or Greenlee or Elijah Martin. You guys move the ball so well. You spread the floor. What's been the key to that success and your chemistry on the floor together?
We all bought in. Nobody really cares who gets the shine, who gets the buzz or the credit. We all want to do it for each other. We noticed that like we can go as far as possible by doing it with each other, and that's what we're bought into.
We'll come up a couple more rows on that far side. Yep.
Theo Dorsey, ESPN West Palm. Giancarlo, this is for you. They talk so much about the physicality of Tennessee. You're one of the bigs, and Dusty even talked about how you've stepped up here in the tournament with Vlad, maybe not giving exactly what they needed at certain points or foul trouble. For you, how much do you hear that physicality narrative, and it kind of, as the big man, as one of the big men on this team, you kind of want to make sure that, you guys are able to set a statement that this isn't a team that's not too physical for you?
Hey, we bringing our hard hat. We know Tennessee physical, but we ain't worried about that. It's gonna be a physical game. We scrappy, they scrappy. We're gonna compete tomorrow.
Okay, we're staying on that side, back row on the aisle. Yep.
Sam Fetterman, Mid-Major Madness. You guys caught the ire of a lot of people on the internet after Elijah's dunk attempt at the end of the game. Do you guys relish being now some people's villain, or do you have any comments on that?
We'll go with Nick, then Jonell, then Giancarlo, unless Nick just wants to be the one to answer for the group.
I'm gonna answer. We all good guys. We not villains. What happened? That was totally just out of emotion. It was not meant to be personal or disrespectful to anybody. We want to be good guys out here. We not villains. We just having fun.
Okay, we'll come across the way. Fifth row in the middle. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Dan McQuaid, Defector Media. I saw in the last game you guys ran that like football inbounds play.
Yeah.
This is for anybody. If you could just talk about what did you feel like when you were first introduced to this play, and do you like running it?
Let's start with Nick, and then we'll go Jonell and Giancarlo. So Nick, go ahead.
That football play is what Coach showed us. I'm pretty sure. A lot of people run it. I seen it used other places, and it works. So when we first seen it, we were kind of confused, but it helped us win the game last whatever day that was, and it works.
Jonell?
The coach drew it up. We just believed in what he drew up.
And Giancarlo?
Coach May, man, beautiful play caller.
That's the best coach in the country.
Best coach, hands down. We just listen to what he say. It's a pretty good play. It's for him to get somebody open. Everybody go deep and somebody get open. But good play.
Yeah. He does that a lot.
We'll come up here on the aisle. We'll start on the left side of the aisle, and then we'll go across the way. So left side of the aisle here, row 3.
This is for Giancarlo and Janelle, Zach Weinberger, Palm Beach Post. Can you just talk a little bit about the day Monday, the day off, kind of exploring the city, but also just trying to kind of take those emotions, put them to the side, and focus on the game plan Tuesday?
Start with Giancarlo.
It was a great day. I was out with Nick Boyd, the boys. Nick from here, so he was showing us around. But it was just a good day to decompress, just wind down, get everything out from Ohio, just get a feel for Madison Square. It's a lot going on. I'm from West Palm, so it's a lot going on here. So it was just a good day to get everything going.
And Jonell.
Just being here, this is my first time being here, so I was just soaking everything in, pause. But it's just being here really coming from where I come from. You don't see nobody like this for real.
All right, we'll go across the aisle on the other side.
Hey, Rocco Miller here with bracketshere.org. Good to see you guys. So I just two-part question. One, I don't think enough people talk about your defense. It's been top 35 all year, top 15 against field goal percentage. Maybe just speak to what you can do against this Tennessee team that goes through droughts. And then number 2, how big of is a priority and a goal since the beginning to get to Houston and make the Final Four?
Let's start with Nick, and then we'll work our way down. So, Nick, if you want to address the first question about defense.
I think our defense is pretty good. Like you said, the numbers speak for themselves. I just think people underestimate us because of our size, but a lot of people don't understand that when they get out there with us, it's a different feel and it's a different intensity, and we're very scrappy.
Let's have Janelle talk about the defense as well.
Coach May just stressed it from day one about defense. Anything happens, we just lock in on defense.
And then Giancarlo, why don't you address the second question about just trying to get to Houston?
Yeah, the goal to get to Houston from the beginning, has that been the goal?
Okay. Okay.
We taking it one game at a time right now. We're really locked in and focused on Tennessee. And we really just where our feet at. We not worried about Houston right now. If we're blessed enough to get to Houston, we'll take care of business when we get there. But we're trying to take care of business tomorrow night.
We probably got time for one more question if there is one for the student athletes, and then we're going to dismiss them if we have no other questions. Fellas, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. Take care. Tell them I said what's up.